Hello my dear followers, hope you're doing fine. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this new video. Today I'm going to show you how to present the different lessons of a sequence. The logical order of a sequence is very important because there are many skills. Each sequence contains many skills. So just a recapitulation on how to start your academic year. So in the first session it's going to be just the first contact with your pupils. Then in the second session you're going to present the diagnostic test. In the third session you're going to correct the diagnostic test, and in the fourth session you're going to start your revision. You devote 3 to 4 sessions for revision. Then you're going to start your program. I take as an example third year program, sequence 1. So if you don't mind, just take the book of third year to follow with me. So in the first sequence, you have, of course, a list of skills that are written at the beginning of the book. Here you have listen and do, pronounce, grammar, and so on. But you are really confused regarding the order of the lessons. So, the title of the sequence, me, my abilities, my interests, and my personality. So you're going to present the sequence in the first session when you start the program. You're going to present the sequence, you're going to name it, and of course you have to deal with the project announcement. So you announce the project for your pupils, and then you're going to move to the initial situation. Initial situation, which is like the presentation and the summary of the sequence. You present it and you write it on the board, and your pupils are obliged to copy it on their copybooks. Then, this is for the first session. Then, in the second session, you're going to start your program. So, are we going to start by listening or grammar, or pronunciation, or reading? This is really confusing. So, before you start your program, you have to scan your sequence. What does it mean, scanning a sequence? It means you're going to see the content of the sequence. How many pronunciation lessons do we have? How many listening scripts do we have? How many grammar lessons do we have? How many readings, and so on. Don't forget, of course, you have time, so you cannot do whatever you want. The thing that I don't maybe like in most of the books is that they contain too much listening. So you have to be selective. For example, in sequence 1 in the third year program, you're going to divide the sequence into topics. You have abilities, then you have interests, then you have personality. If you see the title of the sequence, which starts with me, my abilities, so if I say me, here it means your first name, your surname, your age, your nationality, your hometown, your country, so this is really obvious. Then you move to abilities, but if you check the book, you're going to find the first activity involving interests. So here it's really confusing. What did I do? I just brought my own material, my own script for abilities. So, you have listening, you have 21 tasks of listening, you have 2 lessons of pronunciation, and 3 lessons of grammar. What did I do? I started with the listening that talks about abilities that I brought myself. And then I moved to grammar, modal verbs. Why? Because modal verbs is related to the listening of abilities. Then I moved to pronunciation, the weak and strong form of can, which is actually related to the listening involving abilities, and the modal verbs talking about weak and strong forms of can. This is logical. Then I moved to interests. I divided the sequence. I moved to interests. Here for interests, I adapted the script of the guide, but I changed it. according to the level of my pupils, of course. And then I moved to grammar. I dealt with the ways of expressing interest, fond of, keen on, and so on, because it is related to my listening. And I always say you have to present your grammar lesson in context. If you present it in context, it means that this context should be familiar for your pupils. Otherwise, they won't be able to understand. We don't teach grammar as a separate item. We teach it in context. Then I moved to the third topic, which is personality. And I moved to grammar, lesson of talking about personality, how to ask questions about personality, and so on. Then I moved to pronunciation of se, ze, and is. This is my logical order of the first sequence of third-year program. That's how I divided the sequence. That's how I presented the sequence to my pupils. Then I picked out some activities from the book. For example, for I practice, I used the book. Then you have four texts of reading. He have not dealt with all the texts because it's too much. So I chose I read and do, so of Little Prince of Farhani Mzian, and I chose adapted text from a website talking about Muhammad Farah Jalloud. So because it's too much to deal with the four texts. If you don't like the texts of the book, just have to bring your own material and your own text. Then after reading, you have I learned to integrate. Here we are supposed to solve the solution of the initial situation. Then you move finally to I think and write. So I will remind you of the order I went through in sequence 1. Abilities, listening, then modal verbs, can and can't, then pronunciation of can and can't, weak and strong form, then interests, listening, ways of expressing interests, then personality, talking about personality as a grammar lesson, then se, ze, is pronunciation, then I practice, here some activities from the book, then I read and do, I have only chosen 2 texts, then I learn to integrate, then I think and write. So you don't have to follow the book like 100%. You have to adapt it, you have to adopt it, you have to bring your own materials. Because sometimes the book does not serve us. If you see, for example, that the activities are not really presented logically or graded, so they are not, the activities are not graded or the topics are not graded. Here, for example, we have to speak about the profile of a pupil, then you're going to speak about his abilities, then his interests, then his personality. It's logical. Now, if you want to start with personality just after the profile, you're really free. But you have to take the listening script and take the grammar lessons and the pronunciation lessons, and you try to make a harmony between the lessons. You have your grammar lesson should be related to the listening. This is the most important thing. And of course, your pronunciation lesson should not be presented as a separated tool, like just pronunciation. For example, here we have 2 lessons of pronunciation. We're not going to deal with se, ze, is, and then the next session we're going to deal with can and can't, weak and strong form. No. Listening, then grammar, then pronunciation, then listening. You have to make a variety of skills so that the learners won't get bored. Concerning the time devoted for each lesson. Listening lesson takes 1 hour. Grammar lesson takes 1 hour. Pronunciation lesson takes 1 hour. Reading from 1 hour to 1 hour and a half. I learned to integrate 2 hours. I think and write 3 hours. So these are the hours devoted for each lesson. That's all for today, my dear followers. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.